My sister spent $240 on a bento box system for her twins last August. 2 premium sets, matching bags, the whole thing. By October, one of the lids had cracked and the other kid refused to eat out of his because the compartments were too small for chicken nuggets. Meanwhile, I was still using a $15 kid's lunchbox I bought 2 years ago, and it hasn't failed once. If you're new here, welcome to Family Wise, where we dig into the stuff nobody else bothers to research properly, so you don't have to lose an afternoon comparing lunchboxes on 10 different tabs. That's exactly what I did this time. And it's how I found out which kids' lunchboxes actually earn their reputation versus which ones just have the best marketing budget. Here are 10 cheap lunchboxes everyone scrolls past, and why they're quietly the best purchase you'll make all school year. 1. EasyLunchboxes, under $15, BPA-free polypropylene construction. And it's been a bestseller for years for a simple reason. Parent websites keep independently landing on it as the best value option, over and over, across completely different reviewers. When that many unrelated sources agree without coordinating, that's not marketing working on you, that's just a genuinely solid product doing its job. Number 2, Sistema Bento. Cheap, seriously durable, and it shows up in test after test as a top recommendation. Made in New Zealand, it does not have the aesthetic of the influencer brands, but the build quality holds up in a way that matters more once the school year actually starts. Food-grade materials, dishwasher safe, and it just quietly does the job. Number 3, Mepal Campus. This one might be my favorite pick on the whole list, and here's why it's more interesting than it sounds. Americans already know Bentgo. It's everywhere. It's the default answer. But there are premium kids' lunchboxes that most parents never hear about. Brands like OmiBox, which does hot and cold compartments, or Yumbox, which is basically the industry standard for leak-proof bento in a lot of parenting circles. Mepal, made in the Netherlands, is that same caliber of quality, arguably higher, and it's barely known in the US at all. Replacement parts are available separately, so if one piece wears out, you're not throwing out the whole box and starting over. And speaking of not throwing out the whole box, here's a smart trick most parents never think about. Instead of buying a licensed Spider-Man, Bluey, or Frozen lunchbox every single year, buy a durable plain lunchbox like this one. Then personalize it with dishwasher-safe waterproof stickers. When your child's favorite character changes next year, and it will, you just replace the stickers instead of replacing the entire lunchbox. One solid container can genuinely outlast 4 licensed ones, and it costs a fraction of what you'd spend rebuying character merchandise every fall. Number 4, Packet. The ice pack isn't separate here. It's built directly into the lining of the bag itself, using their built-in freezable gel technology. Freeze the whole thing overnight, and it keeps school lunch cold for hours, without you needing to remember a separate cooler pack every single morning. That's not just a cheap option, that's a genuinely smart piece of engineering that most premium bags don't even bother offering. Number 5. Munchkin Bento. Shows up consistently well in independent testing. And it's generally easy for kids to manage on their own, which matters more than people think when your 5-year-old is trying to handle lunch solo for the first time without asking a teacher for help. Number 6. Bentology. Not a huge name, but the quality is there, and so is the price. This is the kind of brand that never trends on social media, but quietly does the job every single day without complaint. Number 7. Fit and Fresh Bento. Genuinely underrated, and it's especially well suited for parents doing meal prep, since the compartments are built for batch packing multiple lunches at once, instead of assembling one at a time every morning. Number 8. B-Box Mini Lunchbox. Massive in Australia, practically unknown here in the US. Sometimes the best products just haven't crossed the ocean into the algorithm yet, and this is one of those cases where being unfamiliar has nothing to do with being inferior. Number 9. Wildkin. genuinely beautiful designs at a price point that doesn't punish you for wanting something that looks nice. This is the one that proves cheap and stylish aren't opposites, even though marketing wants you to believe otherwise. Number 10. Flow Fly. Budget-friendly, strong Amazon reviews, and honestly the default answer if you just want a reliable, no-frills kids' lunchbox and don't want to spend 20 minutes overthinking a lunch bag. Here's the pattern behind every single one of these 10. None of them are the brand you see tagged in every school lunch video on your feed. The ones with the biggest visibility, your Planet Box, your Omi Box, your Premium Yum Box, spend serious money on influencer partnerships and packaging design. And that budget has to come from somewhere, usually the price tag you're paying at checkout. A $15 Easy Lunchbox and a $60 Bento box from a brand you already recognize are frequently built from comparable food-grade materials. What you're often paying extra for is the name, not the plastic underneath it. That doesn't mean the popular brands are bad. Some genuinely earn their price with better insulation, sturdier hardware, or stainless steel construction over time. But if you're trying to stretch a budget, or you're tired of buying a brand new character lunchbox every time your kid's favorite show changes, these 10 options do the actual job without the markup. And a couple of them, like Mepal and B Box, are basically hiding in plain sight because they haven't caught on here yet. My sister eventually gave up on the premium set. She's using a plain Sistema box now, made with food-grade, dishwasher-safe materials with a few waterproof stickers her son picked out himself. And both her kids finished their lunch, mostly because nobody has strong opinions about a boring container. Sometimes boring, cheap, and reliable is exactly what wins. And if this saved you from doing the research yourself, that's what FamilyWise is here for.